What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be featuring Mathmech, but before I begin, if you could happen to click on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons, it would be greatly appreciated, as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. Clicking on those notification bells would also mean a lot, as they notify you when I upload on the channel. So I would like to start by saying that I'm going to be showing a plethora of Firewall, Defensor, and Mathmech circular combos because they just do so much for the deck, but I would also like to mention that there's certain things that you can do in the combos differently depending on your deck building choices. I based this deck off a top 4 list in a case tournament, so I'm going to do my combos based on that list. And the first card that we have here is Firewall Defensor, and it reads, if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material for a Cybers monster, you can special summon one Firewall monster from your deck except Firewall Defensor. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except Cybers monsters. If a Firewall monsters you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use each effect of Defensor once per turn. So if you happen to watch my Cybers video from before, you'll know that this card is one card combo, but the cool bits of protection is also nice, and we'll go into our Disciple as we'll be able to bring out the Guardian off the Defensor, and from here we can go into the Splash Mage as we'll revive the Guardian off its effect, and then from here we'll be able to use the Splash Mage, bring back the Defensor as now we have Alimbertion access, and this will give us a search for the Mathmech Circular, as now we can get more combo abilities since we can send the Diameter off of the Mathmech Circular, then use the Alimbertion to tribute itself off for the Diameter, and then from here we'll trigger the Mathmech Circular to get our Super Factorial, and then from here we'll go into our Heat Soul. This will get us a draw 1 along with a Lingaribo on our turn, as we'll then be able to set the Super Factorial, go to our opponent's turn, where we'll be able to get the other draw off the Heat Soul, and then we can use the Super Factorial now in order to bring back our two Mathmechs, including the Diameter, to give the Alimbertion that we bring out an Omni-Negate, as we also get a search for follow-up with another copy of Diameter added to our hand. Now for the second combo here, we're going to start off with Defensor along with either Factorial or the Mathmech Equation, and we're going to start off doing a bunch of the same things, and there's going to be a couple of different things that you can do here that are going to be decided on deck choices. As we're going to go into Alimbertion, we're then going to be able to get a search off of the Alimbertion for the Circular, as we'll then be able to use the Circular for the Diameter, as we'll then be able to use the Alimbertion, get ourselves the Diameter, as we'll then be able to trigger the Circular, get ourselves the Equation, and now we can go for Masquerena, basically do the same thing again if you wanted to get the Equation for the follow-up. Moving on, we're going to go into our Transcode, use its effect in order to get back to Splash Mage. From here we can go into our Protect Code Talker, and you could technically go into your Heat Soul as well, but the Protect Code Talker is a new card that we'll be getting in Cyberstorm Access that reads, it takes 2+ effect monsters, and your opponent cannot target link 4 or higher link monsters you control with card effect. Also, they cannot be destroyed by battle. If you control a Firewall link monster quick effect, you can banish any number of link monsters from your graveyard whose total link ratings equal exactly 3. Special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Protect Code Talker once per turn. So a nice bit of protection for your Firewall, along with being able to revive itself, giving the Firewall an extra co-link point in order to give it an extra bounce. But we're going to use the Equation now to bring back a Mathmech. We'll then go into our Firewall, use the Protect Code, and then from here we'll be able to set the Super Factorial. And keep in mind that not only do we have the 2 bounces for the Firewall, but we have the protection off the Protect Code Talker. Technically, the Transcode Talker also makes it protected from targeting, but we also have the Defensor, which protects it from being destroyed by card effect, and we also have the Firewall Guardian, which is another form of battle protection, which basically just negates an opponent's attack and changes their attack to 0, which is permanent, but it does make their opponent's monster unaffected. So you'll see that we're also going to get the Super Factorial, and we only have 2 Mathmechs, so we'll be able to get our Alimbertion equation with an Omni negate for our opponent's turn, where we'll also be able to get a search for our diameter to get us some follow-up. Now, the next combos I want to show are with Mathmech Circular, and this one we're going to start with sending the Sigma. From here, we'll be able to use the Sigma's effect, and this will be able to give us the search off of the circular. And then from here, we'll be able to get our super factorial, as we're going to go into our Allen-Burschen. We'll use the Allen-Burschen's effect, as we'll then be able to net ourselves a search. From here, we'll be able to get the diameter, normal sum in the diameter. We'll then be able to revive the Sigma. We'll then be able to go into our Lingeribo, go into our Splash Mage, revive a Cybers with the Splash Mage, as this will be able to allow us to go into our Heat Soul, basically giving us the end result of our first combo with the Super Factorial, and we'll also be able to get a pair of draws off the Heat Soul. Though it is important to note that you do have 3 Mathmechs in the graveyard, so you can go for Laplacian instead of the Allen-Burschen. So for this next combo, similar to the second combo, this is Mathmech Circular, but with one of your Mathmech spell traps. We're going to send the Sigma off the circular, use the Sigma in order to revive itself, as we're then going to use the circular to get a search for the equation. We'll then be able to go into our Allen-Burschen. Allen-Burschen will get us a search, as we'll then be able to get an add for the diameter, as we'll then be able to normal summon the diameter, get back a Mathmech, as we'll then be able to go into our Splash Mage, use the Splash Mage in order to bring back the diameter, and then from here we'll go into our Heat Soul, go into our Lingeribo. We'll be able to get a pair of draws, as we're going to keep the equation for follow-up, and then on our opponent's turn, because we have the 3 Mathmechs in our graveyard, we'll get a draw off the Heat Soul, and then because I couldn't show it on the last one, I'm going to just show that you do have the option for Laplacian here in case you're learning the deck and don't know what that is. So for the next combo, and this is another combo if you just happen to be learning the deck, and this is how you basically do an access code OTK with just Mathmech Circular. So we're going to send the Sigma off the circular, go into our Sigma by reviving that and triggering our circular, and then from here we'll be able to get ourselves the equation. From here we can go into our Allen-Burschen, use the Allen-Burschen, which will give us a search for a copy of the diameter. From here we can normal summon the diameter. This will give us a revival for a Mathmech, and then from here we can go into our update jammer, as we'll then be able to go into our transcode. Transcode can revive the update jammer, and the update jammer will give it a second attack for the turn when we link summon a monster using it as material. So basically our access code can now trigger the transcode. The update jammer will trigger, making it a 5300 attack destroyer that can also attack twice, and we still have the equation. Now for this next combo, we have Firewall Defensor along with a discard, and this is because we'll be showing off one of the new cards, and we're going to use our Defensor to go into our Link Disciple. We'll then be able to bring out a Firewall Phantom, and this is another new card that we'll be getting. Its effect reads that if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material for a Cybers monster, you can add 1 Signet spell trap from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. You can banish this card from your graveyard during the end phase of this turn, shuffle 1 Cybers monster from your graveyard into the deck. You can only use each effect of Phantom once per turn. So we're now going to use it as link material in order to get its effect, as we're going to be able to search our Signet Conflict, pitch the fake trap, which will just be any discard, and then we'll be able to get back the Phantom off the Splash Mage, which will now go into our Heat Soul, and now we can get 2 draws, giving us our Signet Conflict, which is a trap instead of a monster Omni, which can come up, and it also banishes, which is nice, but we're also going to use the Phantom, putting our Splash Mage back during the end phase. Now for this next combo, I'll be using Mathmech Circular along with Parallel Exceed, and we're going to start this one by using the Circular, sending the Sigma, then we can revive the Sigma off its effect. This will trigger the Circular in order to get us a search, as we're then going to be able to get the equation, as we're then going to be able to go into our Allen-Burschen, use the effect of the Allen-Burschen, and this will be able to get us our diameter, as we're then going to normal summon the diameter, use its effect, getting ourselves a revival of the Sigma, and then from here we can go into the Link Disciple, as we'll now use the Parallel Exceed, and this will give us 2 extra bodies to work with, as we're going to bring out another copy of itself, go into our Splash Mage, use the Splash Mage to bring back the Circular, and then from here we can go into our Transcode. Again, there's different things that you can do there, like going for an IP Masquerena line along with Heat Soul, maybe even ending with Lingeribo and stuff like that, but we're going to use the Transcode in order to bring back the Splash Mage, go into our Protect code, as we'll then go into our firewall, use the protect code in order to bring itself back, and then from here we'll be able to go into our G heart, as we'll use the hearts effect in order to bring back the transcode, and then we can use the equation, which will give us an extra body, which we can do a couple of things with that I want to show. We can either go into the Lingeribo, or we can go into our Singularity, which is another new card. And it takes 3+ effect monsters. Quick effect, you can target cards your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of different types of monsters, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Exceed, you control and or in your graveyard. So basically just Alimbertion for this version of the deck. Turn them to the hand, and if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each card returned. If a monsters this card points to is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, you can target one Cyberus monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can only use each effect of Firewall, Dragon, Singularity once per turn. And what this does is basically make it so it's better to kaiju this than to kaiju this, because if your opponent does kaiju the firewall and put their kaiju right here, you can just put the firewall right here next to your protect code. And I know that it may not be much, but it's an option that you do have. Now we'll be showing off the Firewall Defensor along with the Parallel Exceed. Like I said, a plethora of Mathmech Circular and Defensor combos, and they really do lead to a bunch of the same stuff. It just depends on what you're playing and where you take it, as we're going to bring out the Guardian along with another copy of Parallel. We're then going to go into our Alimbertion, as we're going to use the Alimbertion effect, which will net us a search, as we're going to get ourselves the Diameter, or the Circular, I'm sorry. We're then going to go into our Splash Mage, revive the Guardian off its effect. We'll then use the Circular in order to send the Diameter, and now we can use the Splash Mage to revive the Diameter sent off the Circular, and this will trigger the Circular, while also being able to get us the equation and save ourselves the extra summon. So we're going to be able to use the transcode now in order to be able to get ourselves the Splash Mage, and then again you can go for Heat Soul, or you could even do IP lines before that. It depends on what you want to play, but I'm going to go for the Firewall here, and then from here we can use the Protect code in order to bring that back, as we'll then be able to link away into our heart, use its effect, bringing back the transcode, and much like our previous combo, I'm going to bring back the Diameter, and you have the option here in order to go into Singularity, or you can go into Lingeribo. It depends on what you want to end your board with. Now, this is another combo with Defensor along with Parallel Exceed, and this one is a bit different. We're going to go into the Disciple, as we're going to use the Defensor along with the Parallel. We're going to bring out our Guardian, as we don't have a discard for the Phantom, but going to get our extra bodies, as we're going to go into Alimbertion, use the effect of Alimbertion in order to get ourselves the Circular. Here we'll go into our Splash Mage, and then we'll be able to use the Guardian's effect, which will bring it back, and then we can use the Circular in order to send the Diameter and special summon itself out. We'll use the Splash Mage now to bring back the Diameter, and then from here we can use the Circular's effect, which will get us the search for the Super Factorial. Here we'll go into our transcode. Again, different lines that you can take, depends on what you want to do. We're going to bring back the Splash, go into our Protect code, go into our Firewall, use our Protect code from our graveyard to give ourselves the extra bounces. We're now going to use the Alimbertion to bring back a Mathmech from our graveyard in order to go into our Lingeribo, giving us that Evenly protection or whatever trap protection, as we also have the Super Factorial for our opponent's turn, which can give us the Alimbertion in order to get ourselves the follow-up along with an Omni Negation for our opponent's turn, as we're going to search the Diameter off of the Alimbertion. So for this next combo, we have Circular along with Diameter, and this is an anti-Nibiru combo. No, it's another Circular / Firewall Defensor combo. I know I said there was a plethora of them, but we're going to be able to bring out the Diameter after the Sigma. We'll then be able to use the Diameter along with the Circular in order to get us a search and a revival, as we're going to get our Super Factorial. Now we can go into our Alimbertion, give it an Omni Negate. We're also going to be able to get ourselves a search here, and then from here we'll be able to use the effect of Addition. We're going to then be able to bring itself out, as we're then going to use the effect of Sigma. From here we can use the Sigma in order to go into Link Disciple, go into our Splash Mage. From here we'll use the Splash Mage, bring back the Diameter, as we're then going to go into our Heat Soul, and then from here we can use the Heat Soul's effect in order to get ourselves a draw. And then from here I accidentally ended the replay shortly, but you could actually use the Alimbertion, bring back the Lingeribo, since we won't have the Omni Negate during our opponent's turn. but we could get ourselves the Lingeribo unless you want to go to the end phase and protect yourself from Nibiru. Now, for the next combo, prepare for this, but we're going to come full circle with the Mathmech Circular and the Firewall Defensor, as we're going to send the Sigma off the Circular, and then revive the Sigma as we're going to trigger the Circular in order to get ourselves the Super Factorial. Now, keep in mind that because we don't have diameter access here, you could go for the equation if you want the extra body, but I don't feel that you need it because there's not much that you would be able to do with it, and you can just get the super factorial in order to ensure that you have follow-up, but again, it depends on the rest of your hand. We're going to use the Alimbertion now to get ourselves the search for the subtraction, and now we can use the subtraction in order to special summon itself out, and then from here we can normal summon the Defensor. We'll go into our Link Disciple as the Guardian is going to come out off the Defensor's effect, and then from here we can go into our Splash Mage, revive the Guardian, as we'll then be able to use the Splash Mage's effect, bring back the Circular, as then from here we're going to link away into our transcode, use the transcode in order to revive the Splash Mage. Now you can go into your Heat Soul or Protect code, as we're then going to go into our Firewall, use the Alimbertion's effect in order to bring back a Mathmech, go into our Lingeribo, use the effect of the Protect code, and then from here you can set the Super Factorial for your follow-up, giving you your end board. Now I'm going to get onto the test hand, and this one is sort of going to be a combo also, which is just any Cybers plus Parallel Exceed. And we're going to start by normal summoning the Subtraction, go into our Link Disciple, bring out the Parallel Exceed, then use the Parallel Exceed to bring out another copy of itself, go into our Splash Mage, revive the Parallel Exceed off of Splash Mage. Now we can go into our Heat Soul. From here we can go into our Lingeribo, use the Heat Soul to net us a draw, and then from here, depending on what you draw, you could do whatever you want, but we're basically just going to end our board on this. And then finally, for the last hand, I just want to do a full combo, and this is going to be quite a hand. As you can see here, we're going to send the Sigma off of Signet Mining, get ourselves the Mathmech Circular, sending the Diameter, as we'll then be able to use the Sigma, triggering off the Circular, and this will get us a search for the Super Factorial since we already have the equation. And then from here, we're going to use the equation, bring back the Diameter, and now we'll be able to play through Nib, as we're going to use the Alimbertion now. That was summoned using the Diameter, and then we can bring out our addition off of its effect, use the addition in order to special summon itself out, as we're then going to go into our Link Disciple via the Defensor, use the Defensor's effect along with the Parallel Exceed, and this will give us a bunch of bodies here, as we're going to get the Guardian along with another body off the Parallel, and then from here we're going to go into our Splash Mage, use the Splash Mage to bring back a Parallel, and then from here we can go into our transcode, use the transcode, bringing back the Splash Mage, and then from here we can go into our Protect code or Heat Soul, go into the Firewall, revive the Defensor off of its effect, as we're then going to be able to bring back the Protect code as well. And then from here, we're going to go into our Heart, as we're then going to use the effect of the Heart, bringing back the transcode. And then from here, there's a couple of things that you could do. The first being that we're going to go into the Lingeribo, but you can also go into your Singularity, bring back a Mathmech name with the Alimbertion so that you can go into the Lingeribo, saving your Lingeribo, instead of using it to go into the Singularity, of course. But I just did it that way to show the options that you have, as you're also able to set the Super Factorial. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can finally get onto the deck profile, and the first thing that you may notice is all of the flex spots like Nabla, Mathmech Equation, there's the Cynet Conflict, and the Firewall Phantom. These are slots that can easily be replaced with more copies of Subtraction, Addition, and Sigma. There's also the possibility that you can play more going second cards, but I feel like Phantom is kind of nice in game ones where you can just randomly make your board stronger with Cynet Conflict, while the Equation does help you play through boards. I guess the Called by the Grave is another flex option that you could play for going second cards if you want to replace that. You'll see that in the extra deck we don't have IP Masquerena or Cybers Wicked, and I don't think that you need the Wicked too much, especially since now you're kind of just going into Splash Mage for your Heat Soul or your transcode in order to get back the Splash Mage and then go into your Heat Soul. So I just think that the follow-up for Diameter isn't as important, considering that there are enough hands where you may just go into Alimbertion with the Super Factorial and get your follow-up that way. Then you'll see the Avramax here, which is another option that you have, especially if you play IP Masquerena. And I'm putting the IP Masquerena in as soon as the Kashtira deck is out of the format so that we don't have to play the double access code anymore. The Firewall Fluid is another option that you have because the Singularity really doesn't do too much on its own, where it's just an additional bounce along with the Firewall, and the floating is kind of nice. The arrows are too, but the Dark Fluid does give you the extra piece of monster negation even if you are committing a lot to it. It also does have that niche battle phase effect. The Cyberse Witch is another Cyberse Wicked basically, and I know in the combos I was using Link Disciple, but Almirage is definitely better to play in my opinion. Then we have the Ghost Ogre, Book of Moon, Book of Eclipse, Dark Ruler, which are other board breaker / hand traps you can play for this format. The Cosmic Cyclone could be really good also for stuff like Runic Fountain, along with the purely field spell. Even banishing stuff like the super heavy Samurai Scales can be detrimental to how some of these decks play their turn. You'll then see that we have the Ibli, Ra's Disciple, and Signet Circuit here, and the reason why you didn't see the Signet Circuit along with the Ra's Disciple in any of these combos is because the Phantom along with the Signet Conflict already brings a couple of bricks via their own mini engine. Same with the Mathmech equation and Super Factorial. It just feels like there's no reason to shove this in there. And then even when you consider alternatives to Ra's Disciple, there's Ibli, which is essentially easier, and it's just another thing that you don't even need to play because you have Super Factorial, which can turn into Laplacian while having Heat Soul that can draw you into extra hand traps. It's just one of those things I don't feel is worth the deck space to change your combos for either. You'll also notice how the deck has 12 1/1.5 card starters now, which is basically just insane. Any 2 level 4s is also combo, as they can get you into Alimbertion, and Alimbertion can get you into Circular. And as long as you see Parallel Exceed in your hand with any of your Cybers, you're also good as shown previously. So there's plenty of consistency for the deck to go around. What you do with your flex spots depends on what you really need. I understand if you want to play more going second card. So with all of that out of the way, I think I'm just going to get onto the card by card, as I don't think I need to say too much. There's the 3 Mathmech Circular, the 3 Firewall Defensor, the 3 Signet Mining, the 3 Small World, the 1 Super Factorial, Signet Conflict, Mathmech Equation, Called by the Grave, Nabla, the 3 Parallel Exceed, the 1 Subtraction, the 1 Addition, the 1 Firewall Guardian, the 1 Firewall Defensor, or the 1 Firewall Phantom, the 3 Diameter, the 1 Sigma, the 3 Santa Claus, the 3 Ash, the 3 Droll, and the 3 Imperm to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck we have Laplacian, the 2 Alimbertion, Singularity, Firewall Dragon, the 2 Access Codes, Protect Code, the Heat Soul, Transcode, Update Jammer, Heart, Splash Mage, Almirage, and Lingeribo to round out the deck profile. But anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.